Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you don't mind, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and once I'm all done with this and you take a look and just throw me a comment. Tell me what you think. I hope everybody had a great week of trading, made some money this week. For myself, I did not. Transparency is always good, and you should always look for traders who are transparent on their channels. Um, but this week was a really bad week for me. I'll show you in a moment how bad it was, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I touched on this a little bit at the end of last week. Um, the problem is this week I didn't do everything I needed to do to get back into my process. And I make no excuses because there are no excuses. I know what makes me profitable, and I haven't been doing that. No, I've only been trading for 4 years. Um, And again, that's no excuse either. But just to prove the point that it doesn't really matter how long you trade, we can all fall back into those old habits sometimes. Um, and you've got to recognize that. You've got to nip it in the bud and you got to fix it. And I recognized it last week. I just didn't nip it in the bud and fix it, obviously. Um, so that's the priority for this coming week. First things to do that is to take the weekend off. This is why I'm doing the review today and the chart markup today for YM because I want to get that out of the way so that Saturday and Sunday are completely mine. I'm not looking at charts. I'm not turning on the charts. Um, and we just I get it done and I don't have to worry about trading for the rest of the weekend. 100% uh, locked out from the charts. But the biggest thing is I've been going to bed a little later, waking up a little later, and that's kind of gotten me in a little bit of a rush in the mornings to get up, get myself together, uh, fix my breakfast, walk the dog, get my exercise in, all the things that I do in the morning before I actually sit down and turn the computer on. So I've been a little bit rushed, and when I do get to the computer, I'm running short on time, so I'm trying to get the stream started, looking at the charts, this, that, and the other, and I've just kind of gotten a little lazy on my chart markups, um, and I've just been kind of relying on, one piece of the puzzle, which is the SMAs, to try to pull me out of that hole because I haven't actually done the work that I need to do every morning. Um, and it hasn't worked out because that's not how I trade. So they are a big piece of it, but that is not what I use mainly to trade. So ICT concepts is really what I use. The majority of my trading setups are based on ICT. Um, I just use SMAs to find good spots to add to my trades and to keep me in the trades longer than I typically would with just ICT. And I also use the session volume profiles, uh, specifically the points of control as targets as well. So I just haven't been doing the work, and that's all there is to it. You can't make it any more simple than that. So let's just jump into it, and we will get uh, everything pulled up here for and show you how my week was done. And I only have one thing to say about my trading week.
I hope you bulletproof for this about to hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Um, so my top one futures account is probably the best account at the moment. Um, and if it wasn't for my daily loss limits, I probably wouldn't have this account either. But we're only down $700 on this account, and that's not anything we can't come back from. Um, so not too worried about it. As long as I do the work that I know I'm supposed to do, um, then we'll get that fixed. Not a big problem, right? Right. So let's just move over to Tradeify, and we had three accounts on Tradeify. One was damn near blown. The other one not so much, and then a third one that was uh, brand new. Um, so blew the two accounts, one that was in pretty good drawdown and one that was in severe drawdown. Um, and so we only had one left, and this is the results of that one account for the week. Okay. Um, this day here yesterday, I had my bias for the market, and it was correct. Okay, I was expecting to catch some shorts or a short that lasted quite a while. The problem is I was not patient enough, and I think that impatience comes from me being in a hurry in the mornings because I'm not waking up early enough, feeling like I have enough time, and that just kind of spills over into the trading day. Um, I was trying to catch the reversal from the push up, and I actually hit my daily loss limit, and then I broke another major rule by going in and extending my daily loss limit and just compounded the mistake. My daily loss limit is $500. When I hit that, I went in and opened that up even more because I had already blown the other two accounts, um, and ended up taking twice my daily loss limit there. The only thing that saved me there, of course, are these two green days. Um, but still, the account is down $1.3 thousand from $1,300 and change. Um, so we have, um, what did I say on that one? We have about 1,200. Uh, actually, let me just go in and actually look at it. Uh, oh, why haven't I put this up yet? Oh, I have no idea. Let's just go into Tradeovate because that's going to give me the number that I'm going to be satisfied and actually believe. Um, so yeah, not even 1,100. We have $642 left in that account before it's gone. So not not very happy with myself this week. Um, but it is what it is. You know, when when you screw up, this is what happens. You blow accounts. Um, and these are just evals, but you know, it is typically very easy for me to pass the evals and get to the funded stage and then work those accounts to a payout. Even if I end up blowing them in the long run, still, uh, you know, I should not blow as many evals without getting a couple of them funded, um, that I have over the last 2 weeks. In fact, I haven't gotten any of my evals funded that I've purchased over the last 2 weeks. Um, and you know, you start off saying it's no big problem, it's no big deal, we'll turn it around, blah 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 blah. But when you don't follow your process, what makes you profitable, and that's not just in your trade setups, we're talking about lifestyle, okay? That that seeps into your trading, okay? Um, I'm used to working 70 hours a week as a truck driver. I quit driving a truck. So my entire day is free now. And you would think that would make me a better trader. But I've been getting a little complacent because I don't have that that mindset anymore of, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work. And it's 70 hours of driving a truck and then as many hours as I can trading the charts and, go, go, go. Um, and I think, that's part of why I became a little bit lazy in my trading because I've gotten lazier in life. I don't have to do that 70-hour a week job anymore. Um, so I've got to pick up the pace a little bit more, you know. It's not that I don't I, I want the free time and I enjoy the free time, but I have to understand that this section of my life now, trading, is where I have to put the focus in for my work. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. So um, I've just got to buckle down a little bit more. So that's been my week. Um, you know, if this doesn't work out, because this only gives me 1.5 more days to trade this account, with a $500 loss limit. If I lose on Monday or Tuesday, the first day I decided to start taking trades, that's going to only leave me $142 for the second day of the week. And, um, that's not very much. Um, my typical trade is usually $250 risk. Um, I can knock that down to 125, but that'll only give me one trade for the second day if I lose daily loss limit on the first day. So obviously, I will be picking up more accounts next week. So, but truthfully, I'm not going to just YOLO this account. It's got a day and a half's worth of trading left on it. Um, and the first day I'll only be risking 125 per trade, which will give me four trades before I hit my $500 stop loss for the day. Um, Forgive me, my dog. Um, but we're going to try to pull it back. I mean, one good way to get focused in and lock in on what you're supposed to be doing is have an account like this that's getting close to being gone and saying, no, I'm not going to lose that account. But at least I'm going to do my very best not to lose that account. I am going to try to pull it back. I'm not going to YOLO into a trade and try to double or triple the account balance on that in one trade. I'm really going to work at it and try to get it back. Now, I'm not going to go less than $125 per trade because I'm not going to sit here and try to work this account for 2 months to try to get it back. Um, if it gets close to reset time on this account and I haven't gotten this thing back up um, above original balance, then I will get aggressive with it and either blow it and buy another one or reset it, whichever is cheaper at the time. So let's get into the charts and we'll take care of that portion of the day. We'll start with the 4 hour chart and um, you know last few days, there's pretty much one thing I can say about that.
What the hell?
Um, there's been some really good sections with lots of one directional price action on these 4 hour bars. We've had some pretty big 4 hour bars um, that were very tradable. Okay, until we started getting up here into the all-time high area, right? So then everything's shortening down a little bit, and we start consolidating up here at the all-time highs. We didn't just have a straight reversal. I mean, we did have one big up day and one big down day and another big up day here. But a lot of these 4 hour candles in here are really small. And when I work off of a 15-minute time frame, that makes trading a little bit more difficult. And instead of just staying out of the market, I've been trying to find trades, not being patient again, um, not following my trading style. I should be very patient on the 15-minute chart and be looking for that uh, show of strength or weakness in the market on the 15-minute time frame that I can actually start trading. And we've had a lot of 15-minute consolidations over the last few days that I haven't been patient enough to wait for to break out of to then start trading. So that's another key thing I have to do. So with the 4 hour chart, what I'm looking for now is this was our last manipulation move here. Um, and in this area, we have a breaker bar, we have an order block, and we have a 4 hour fair value gap. Okay. This is the area I want to be trading in when we get down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the fair value gap first and foremost. Okay. It's going to say 15-minute fair value gap, but we know that it's the 4 hour. In fact, I'll just change the color on that a little bit so that we do know it is a 4 hour. Okay. When, if price gets down to it. All right. Then we have a breaker bar. Okay. Swing high, swing low, higher high, lower low, and boom, we take out the entire move, creating the breaker bar. Okay. Uh, so we do that, and our breaker bars are purple. Do I have a breaker bar in here? No, I deleted it. Um, so let's just change it to purple. Let's bring the opacity on that way down. Okay, and we know we got our fair value gap inside there. Um, and then we have the opening price of the order block. Okay, I can just pull this out a little bit for you. So this is our breaker bar. This is our order block, the opening price of that order block, and our fair value gap. Okay, so you can see that all of these are pretty much lined up right with each other. This is the area that I will be looking for a reversal to go back to the upside. If we break through this with strength, then we could be looking lower, maybe even taking some liquidity from down here, or all of these equal lows down here. Okay, so this is where I'm interested in getting involved. Also with that, since we did have the manipulation move, we swept a swing low, immediately went up and took the swing high. We now have a new dealing range. Okay, so we're going to put that dealing range on, and I'm going to put my detailed dealing range on. Thought I heard her chewing on something. So from the low here to the all-time highs, and this dealing range, and I need to make a few adjustments to this um, and just bring up the opacity a little bit on all of these. This won't take but a minute or two. Um, okay, bring that one up a little more. Oop, okay, that one's already up. Bring that one up a bit. And that one up a bit. All right, now I'll come in here and do this again. Um, well, shit, we're already here. Screw it. That one's up. That one's up. All of those are looking pretty good. All right, I think we're pretty well even there. All right, so we'll just leave that there. We're going to lock that in, all right, because we're going to be looking at the charts on a lower time frame anyway, which is going to spread these levels out. But basically, this is 16ths. Okay, so the main part of the dealing range is the quarters, which are the blue lines, and then those quarters are broken down into quarters. Okay, so this chart is broken down into 16ths. Okay, um, and that's basically what we're interested in. We have this fair value gap, which would be, it's going to say the 75, which is from the top back down. Um, so we have a fair value gap at the first quadrant. we had our weekly opening gap at the second quadrant, and we had our termination gap at the third quadrant before we made the all-time high and started pulling back. So this looks pretty good to me. I do prefer the fair value gaps to actually be on the DRT quads, okay? But I'll accept this for now. Maybe we go up and break all-time highs again a little bit more before actually pulling down to the 50%. But we have gotten pretty close already. So my guess is, especially with the 4-hour 21 starting to flatten out and turn over, is that we actually do come down and get into equilibrium pricing. Now, getting down here, I would really like to see us get into this area. Okay. Anywhere in this area would be fine with me, which means we could come and just rebalance this fair value gap and leave this one completely alone to head back up and just touch the breaker bar and go. Never touch the fair value gap, never touch the order block. Okay. Well, I just have to see when we get there, right? All right, so let's move down to the 15-minute time frame because that is basically where we do the most of our markups and trade at. This we know is just that 4-hour area that when we get down there, we're really going to start being aggressive if we see a 15-minute shift in time in price on the 15-minute time frame to start heading back to the upside. Okay. um, so we're going to open on Monday pretty much the same way we opened on today, with a fair value gap below us and a fair value gap above us. The fair value gap above us is an inverted gap. Okay. We do have a bearish gap as well, um, but I am looking mainly at the inverted gap here to hold. All right. So we'll lock that in. And then we will also overlay the bearish gap um, on top of that for our 15-minute fair value gap. Okay. And you can see the bottom of that inverted gap is right about the midpoint of the 15-minute gap. Okay. So would love to see us touch the top of that and roll over. But we also have below us, we still have a bullish gap that has not been touched yet. Okay. So we did this this morning. We started off this way exactly this morning. Um, and I was not patient enough to wait and see which one got inverted first. So um, this morning we had this 15-minute bearish gap above us, and we had this 15-minute bullish gap below us. And I did not wait to see which one got inverted first. We actually did invert this one, but just by a few ticks. So I really don't count that as an inversion because YM can move, a few points in either direction from a level. I just didn't want to count that as an actual inversion. But then we came up and we actually inverted the top fair value gap, and it became a fake flip, and we fell over. Okay. Then we came down and took all of these equal lows right here and immediately reversed. Okay. We went and swept the swing highs and fell over again back below the 15-minute 200. Okay. Now, the 15-minute 200 is also at the midline of this fair value gap and the bottom of the inverted fair value gap. So again, I would love to see us push back up into this area and reject off the 200. That would give me some confidence in the fact, since we've already taken out all the lows, that we are actually going to come down and hit equilibrium 50% and push into this important 4-hour area. So for now, this is my draw on liquidity, this area down here, okay? Unless I'm proven wrong and we invert this gap, this fair value gap, get above the 200, hold it, and actually start go take out some highs. Okay, so I'd want to see this high taken out, and then see what happens up around this consolidation here. Um, then, if we break through all of that, then I certainly think we would be headed back up to all-time highs again. Okay, so if we look at this on a 2-minute chart, and we actually pull this out, now you can see that our 16th levels on the chart are actually starting to get spread out a bit. Okay, so you have room to trade from level to level here, from 709 to 809. I mean, that's a 100-point move. We broke through. If we retest and hold, you know, this isn't an area I want to be looking for longs until we get above the 25% level and actually invert all of this and then retest the 25% level to go up to the 0.1875. And again, I mean, that's 808 to 910. That's 100 points. So you can see how the ICT stuff gives you really good levels to trade with plenty of distance to do so. And we're not always looking to trade level to level. When we get to a level, we have to see what price does with that level, right? So we were sitting here at, you know, this DRT level over here and just consolidated, and then we made a fair value gaps. We came back into this fair value gap, held it, and then we ran, you know, if you're talking about a color change off the 21, we'd be entering the trade at the color change of this candle. So we'd be entering around 731, okay? And then we hit this, which is about 75 points. We pull back down, create the fair value gap, touch the fair value gap and go, and we make some more points. So over a 100-point trade to take this to the high of day. Now, why would we have gotten out there? We might not have, but as soon as we broke back below these bodies, we'd be out right here. Okay, so you can also look, and I can see pretty much by looking, if I take a premium and discount and actually cut this 25 and this level and this level in half with a premium and discount fib, you can see exactly where price went to, exactly at half of this quadrant. So you could break these quadrants down even more, um, and you know see what's going on there. It's just algorithmic price action is all it is. Um, so we touched the 50% of this level of this quadrant and just fell right back off. Um, so this is the kind of trading I do. This is what's made me profitable, and this is what I need to get back to. Okay, so that is our chart markup for now. This is what we're going to be trading, and I may even move down to the 1 minute time frame on this, um, and just to get my stop losses a little bit tighter, and maybe not have to risk the whole $125 on a trade. Um, you know, so perfect level to trade off of here. Double bottom below, break back above, break the high. That's a change in state of delivery there. You can get in that trade, pull down, add to the trade there. We fair value gap through the level. Strong candle that closes above this level. So level to level. We're in the trade here. We wait when we get here to see what happens. We pull back to the 21. We have a color change. We add to the trade. The candle goes through the level. Fair value gaps. Continues on through the 200. Continues on through the New York VWAP. retest New York VWAP, back up, makes new highs, back down to the 21, makes new highs, small little kerfuffle up to the 25% level. Now, if I had traded that correctly, and I had an account to trade at that point because I was already locked out, that's a huge move. Okay. And since we are coming up to a 25% level, a main quadrant in the dealing range level, I would have taken my trade off right here. I would front run that a little bit and get out of the trade here. So if I were to get into that trade, waiting until we break that high or close above that high, I'd be getting in here and I would be getting out right around in this area. That's 229 points, folks. All right, 229 points. I could have gotten out at New York VWAP for 100 points, re-entered the trade when we retested VWAP here, and then took off when we broke this high. I could have gotten back in the trade there. We'd pull back to break even. We'd have a color we'd have a color change off the 21. I could add to the trade in pretty much the exact spot, not changing my average position price by much, by adding on this color change and running that for another 100 points. Okay? So I could have had either one trade that I stayed in all day with an add, or I could have had two trades that each had an add to it for 100 points each. This should have been a huge day, okay? And that was at 1:30 in the afternoon because there was no reason for me to trade this open. I mean, what the hell? What the hell is that? Okay? I mean, the first thing I should be saying to myself is,
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
okay, but no, my dumbass got impatient, and instead of waiting for the market to show me what it was going to do or wait for a better setup, I'm sitting here trying to trade this bullshit. Okay? And I mean, this is what means something. Okay? You finally pick a direction, and all you got to do is zoom out and realize, hey, we just took out all these lows. I mean, if you're looking at a higher time frame, it is not that difficult to see that we just took out all these lows across here, and even this one, and even these. Okay? I mean, all that liquidity just got swiped, and we immediately pop right back up off of it, making a double bottom at the value area high from a previous day. And all I had to do once I saw us come into this level and get that buy wick right there is to go down to my trading chart. And this is where I would be. That's the buy wick right there. We come back down on the next candle, make a double bottom, and then we take off. Because once that 15-minute candle closed at 1:30 with the buy wick, I wait and see what the next candle is going to do, right? Well, it comes down, makes the double bottom, and then shoots right back up with strength to go break this high. Okay? Get in the trade. That's a good setup. So, again, you know, um, I think, you know, when we were having such good movement in the markets, I was making really good money at the open. And I think, that confidence just kind of overcame me a little bit. And today, was an attitude adjustment. Um, I need to be more cautious on the open. Instead of taking 3 or 4 trades thinking I'm going to be able to pick the direction correctly, if I don't win that first one, I just need to sit out and wait for the market to actually show me something. I mean, even waiting until we took out um, the pre-market high, all right, and then showing some strength to get down here. We got down, pulled down even further, come back to point of control. And as soon as we get back below the 21 there, and this consolidation, we push back into that fair value gap. We can't break above the 21. I could have gotten into this trade as soon as we pushed back into that fair value gap, risking the fair value gap, right? We invert a bullish, we make a bearish, we push back into it. We've been making, since we swept the pre-market high, we've been making lower lows and lower highs all the way through here. So we've got bearish structure. We come up to the 200 and the point of control, we reject off of it strongly, inverting this gap and this gap on these 2 candles, create this gap, push up, get in there, and run that trade down to a DRT quadrant. Okay? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. 148 points. If I can't catch, if my first trade off the open does not work, I need to be more patient and let price start setting up and wait for better levels for me to look for trades. Okay. And let the price structure set up. So I think I've rambled on long enough and beat myself over the head long enough. We'll pick up a few more accounts for next week, and we're really going to lock in and just analyze uh, price movement, wait for the strength at levels, uh, and take the trades that we know we should be taking, not the trades we want to be taking. Um, so yeah, um, that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. Everybody, I appreciate you watching the video tonight. And you know, again, I would really, really appreciate it. I am trying to grow my channel, and of course, I want it to grow organically as much as I can. So I would love for uh, you to take a few moments and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. I'm always going to be transparent with wins and losses, blowing accounts and passing accounts and everything else. I am by no means a guru. I'm just a person trying to make a living trading. So if you like what you see, I certainly would appreciate the help to do what you can as the audience to help that algorithm push me out to a few more people. The channel is starting to grow, um, and I know it's a slow process, just like trading is. So I'm going to just continue to ask every time I come on. Um, so we'll call it a night here. Uh, I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Go out and touch some grass. I'm definitely going to be hitting the golf course and hitting some golf balls this weekend and taking my weekend away from the charts. This will be the last time I get on the charts until I wake up early Monday morning and have plenty of time so that I don't feel rushed to come on and get ready to trade well on Monday. And I do stream live every morning. Um, I will be getting on at 9 o'clock in the morning, uh, but instead of being rushed, I will already have everything set up and I'll be able to go over the charts with you, tell you what I think uh, from the overnight price action and the levels that I have on where my bias is for the day. Um, and again, my bias can change after the open. Okay, I'm not married to my bias when I have it. I just like to have one to take that first trade of the day, right? And then after that, we let the market show us what it wants to do. So until Monday morning, I hope everybody stops in to see me on Monday. But until then, stay safe and God bless.